my most commented on videos regarding homosexual behavior being in nature, yet condemned in the Bible. When speaking of homosexuality being condemned in the Bible, the most well-known story would be that of Sodom and Gomorrah. The story brings up several questions within it, which I feel I'd be doing a disservice to not allow people time to ponder these questions. So with this tough question, I'm actually going to stop whenever a question arises throughout the story of Sodom and Gomorrah and put the question up on the screen to allow time for the viewers to postulate an answer. To start at the beginning of the story, Jehovah tells Abraham that he's going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, to which Abraham tries to get God to reconsider. The angle he uses is to try to get God to find enough righteous people in the towns in order to spare them. Now at this point, let's assume that Sodom and Gomorrah's sin is indeed homosexuality. Abraham's last-ditch effort is to try to get God to spare the cities on account of 10 righteous, read here, heterosexual men. God says he won't destroy the city on account of the 10. So the first question that comes up is, what are the odds of 2 cities not having 10 heterosexual men within its walls? Now, moving on in the story, the only righteous man is Lot in these 2 cities, to which God sends angels to get Lot out of the city. At this point, all the men in the city gather around Lot's house and demand the angels be shown so that they can gang rape them. We're going to stop here again. The Hebrew word here, yada, is translated many times throughout the Bible. In 933 other cases, it's translated as to get acquainted with. As in, they want to know who's in the house. So here's another point where I'm going to stop and ask. Why would this word be mistranslated to make it seem that the men of Sodom wanted to have sex with the angels, when if translated like the rest of the Bible, they just wanted to know who they were? Moving on in the story, Lot doesn't want to introduce his guests to the townfolk, or if you go with the translation, he's saving them from being raped. Here, Lot offers his virgin daughters to the mob. I know it's quick, but I feel compelled to stop here again. If a gang of homosexuals are at your doorstep wanting to have sex with a male guest of yours, why would you offer them a woman to satisfy their needs? They're homosexual. To take a little side journey, bordering on the lines of tough question 30 about magic, ancient civilizations were very superstitious. If some stranger came into their town, it could cause a pestilence. One of the things used to appease their god, to kind of head off at the pass any sort of pestilence, would be a virgin sacrifice. Does it make more sense for Lot to be offering his daughters to be raped by homosexuals, or as a virgin sacrifice to pagans who want to appease their heathen god? But let's not just take Genesis' account of this story. Later in Ezekiel chapter 16, verses 49 and 50, Sodom and Gomorrah is said to have committed the detestable thing, which many preachers and even Jehovah's Witnesses currently equate to homosexuality or men lying with men. The problem here is that the word here in Hebrew is tawibah, which elsewhere in the Bible is translated as idolatry. So, another stop to ponder. Why would this word be mistranslated to allow the interpretation of homosexuality on Sodom and Gomorrah's behalf? To add to this, 2 Peter chapter 2 verses 6 through 8, Sodom and Gomorrah are condemned for living ungodly lives. This is actually used for Christians currently when condemning homosexuals, saying that they are ungodly as well. But what is more ungodly though? Being homosexual or worshiping a false god who requires human sacrifice? Was this story not an effective method to curb the worship of false gods? Why did homosexuality come into play? And why are so many words mistranslated to give that impression? So this unconventional tough question concludes, given all the things to stop and think about, why is Sodom and Gomorrah still told as a story about God destroying homosexuals?